Welcome back to my channel. It's your fave. So I feel like on my channel, I'm gonna let the cops go. Anyway, essentially what I want to talk about in this video is just like what it's really like to be an influencer, because I think a lot of people believe that it's a very glamorous job and it's all like fun and games and you get to work for yourself and this and this and that, and all of that is true except for the glamour part. It's not really that glamorous. But what we don't talk about is how lonely it is, the psychological effects of like being dependent on social media. And I hate to admit it, but I feel like to some extent I really am codependent on social media because I've somehow convinced myself that I need it. And just like what the psychological mental health effects of that is, and just like the toll it also takes on your personal relationships, on your perception of self. That's another one. And so I don't even know where to begin. So I'll just start with why I'm even making this video. I woke up this morning, and first thing that I do is I do a quick little meditation, and then I check my Instagram, which is a terrible way to start your day. But anyway, I check my emails and then I check my Instagram, and what I noticed this morning is that I had lost 2,000 followers. And so I went into instant, I just spiraled. I literally just spiraled. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone hates me. No one's ever gonna wanna work with me again. Am I just a trash artist? Like, am I on the wrong career path? I like all of the thoughts and things just like all tumbled into my mind. And for about an hour, I was just sitting there just spiraling. And then I realized that I'm losing my mind, which happens quite often, honestly. But anyway, so I spiraled, and then I was like, wait, let's pause. And I just started thinking about like, what am I doing? Why am I so upset by this sudden drop of followers? I then later spoke to my manager. I only just got one today. Spoke to him about that, and he was like, oh, this actually happens to everyone. Just the way that like the YouTube and the Instagram platforms and a lot of social media platforms, they do a clearing of bots and inactive accounts and this and this and that. And so anytime that you see a really large drop in followers, that's just because there's, a clearing up. But there's not only that, there's also like algorithms, and you have no control over the algorithms. And one day the algorithm is in your favor and you're just getting so many followers at a time. And then suddenly that just stops. And this happens a lot on YouTube for me, where I'll just be getting so many subscribers for like a month, and then suddenly like it just stops. And we become addicted to the dopamine that you get when you start getting I feel like this is going to be a long ass, rambly ass video, but I just need to, you know what I mean? I just need to vent. I even have my teddy bear with me. So I feel like we become addicted to the dopamine that we get when we get this surge of followers or this surge of engagement. And we become attached to it, and we start attaching it to our self-worth and our self-value, especially as artists. And we start to believe that the value of our art is the equivalent to the value of the numbers on social media. And actually, there's no correlation at all. I think it's clear that social media is unhealthy and it's very toxic. And for people who don't use social media for their careers, I need to know for you, like, why do you guys even have social media? Like, why? I genuinely need to understand, like, why do you even have an Instagram account? Because I can't imagine still being on social media if I really didn't need it for my career. Like, honestly, not at all. So there's that. I really wonder if it's something that you truly need in order to be a successful artist in this day and age. And I think what's really become unhealthy is that we've started to prioritize our digital selves over our physical selves. We've created these split personalities. So you have like your three-dimensional physical self, which lives in this plane of existence. And then you have your digital self, which leaves a digital footprint, the self that is you on social media, the self that you've curated and created on the internet. And of course, there's a dissonance between those two people. And we've gotten to a point right now where I feel like our generation is conflicted between who do I prioritize, who is more important. Is it me, this human being in the flesh, which also isn't real? And I think that's where the source of angst and dissonance and anxiety, because if I really wasn't as invested in my digital self, would I really be so affected by a loss of followers? And then there's also the fact that like your digital self is just a compilation, it's a highlight reel of the best parts of yourself. So like you are not always as funny as your tweets are. You are not always as polished and flawless and face-tuned as your pictures on Instagram are, and you are not as articulate as your YouTube videos show you to be. And so there becomes sort of like a desire to play catch up. Like, how can my three-dimensional self catch up with my digital self? And it's impossible. So I am a one-woman team. As you know, I shoot my own pictures, I shoot my own videos, I shoot and edit, I do all the set design. When you're a blogger, an influencer, you are doing your own makeup, you're doing your own hair, you're doing your own invoices, you're getting your own clients, you're creating all your own content, you're editing everything yourself. We do not have enough hours in a day to be doing all of that at the same time. And you don't know where your next check is going to come from. So you just really, the idea of just stopping and just being like, I'm just gonna take a break today, literally doesn't cross your mind. And it can get really lonely because you're literally doing everything by yourself. And one thing that I've recently had to accept is that I really like to be in control of everything. And I think like doing everything by myself, doing audio and visuals and set design and makeup and clothes and editing and invoices, like it's taught me so much. But you get to a point where like if you continue doing everything yourself, you're actually hurting yourself more than you're benefiting yourselves in more ways than one. And who's that YouTuber? I think her name is Superwoman. She's incredible, she's great. But I recall watching a video of hers where she was saying she literally does everything herself, and she'd been doing that for years. And she's managed to really grow a really cool following of like a couple of million people. But she also said like that took such a mental and physical toll on her, because when you live like that, like all of this stuff just consumes you. And like that's not what we're here to do in this life. We're not here to work ourselves to the bone. We're here to get our titties sucked and just have a really good fucking time. And you can't do that if you are attached to external validation and if you are attached to the outcomes of your own work. Thank you for listening to the first half of this conversation. If you're interested in listening to the rest of this conversation, you will find it on Patreon. So please support my Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/bobosvoid, or you can just click on the link in the description box below. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'll be having so many more of these types of conversation with different friends, with different strangers, with all types of interesting people, and sometimes just conversing with myself. If you are interested in philosophy, politics, race, all the things, I'll be hosting all the conversations on my Patreon. So patreon.com/bobosvoid, or just click on the description box below and support me. Thank you.